So, guys, today we are having a conversation over a fun breakfast. I have no idea where this is leading to. I just met Andrea today at yoga and we're having a good time. So, she seems to be one of those curious people that's asking me a million questions. And I figured some of them would be questions that you would want answers to as well. So, here we go. Happy for you to join us for our delightful breakfast. Can you explain what we're eating? Breakfast. So, in this breakfast, instead of making a granola, which is what I used to do back in the day, I actually every night, if in the afternoon, evening, I make a bowl and I put in it. There's no set quantities, but usually it's at least 2 spoons of chia because that makes it the gelish kind of thing. Sometimes I'll put a teaspoon of flaxseed and then every nut and seed under the planet. I'm exaggerating, of course, but there is always going to be pumpkin, quite a bit, some sunflower. If I want to add some sweetness, goji berries. This one has raw cacao nibs to give it a bit of a cacao-y, chocolatey, and give us magnesium. Some walnuts, some almonds. Oh, what else is in here? Cinnamon always, because the cinnamon helps balance our insulin and it adds a sweet flavor without adding any sweetener. And then that's it. I cover it with water, let it sit in the fridge. The more chia you put, the more water you need. And the flax, because they will expand. But the beauty of this is there's no cooking involved. Everything you're eating is raw, so try to use raw nuts and seeds. And because of the soaking, they really become to life. It's almost the first step of sprouting. So it's almost like this whole food is bursting with life, just right about to come out to give us sprouts. But before it does, we're going to add the yogurt. You don't have to, or you can have vegan yogurt. But I'd say instead of vegan yogurt, I would add a smoothie, like blend some fruit and pour fruit if somebody doesn't eat dairy. But if you eat dairy, I've had here Greek yogurt, so we can get our extra protein, not that there's any lack of protein with all these nuts and seeds. And I add fruit because it's delightful and it adds fresh enzymes and fresh flavors. So any fruit you like. I personally love apples and they're available all over the world since I'm traveling a lot. And if not, yesterday I had a nectarine in there. And that's it. And then there you have it. And if you have it with a smoothie on top, like you just blended some banana, apple, and whatever, you throw that, then you don't need to add fruit and you can have that. And honestly, a week ago I was in Porto and I had no fruit. I just had this because I'm traveling with this. I'm crazy like that. So I just ate it like this with no yogurt, no nothing. I added a little extra water and it was still delicious. So it's just a chia pudding nut breakfast.
I love it. It's delicious.
Another thing that Andrea asked me before was, I was being very weird and I stopped and was just with my plate for a moment with my eyes closed or open. And I know many of you do practice gratitude. And that's wonderful. But I think there's a difference between gratitude and gratitude, or gratitude and headitude. And the headitude is, I'm grateful for the nuts and the seeds and the bees and the trees and the farmers and et cetera, and the gods and the universe and the sun and the rain. It's beautiful. But if you're thinking so much, there's no real room for gratitude. Real gratitude comes from a place of within, where for me, it's actually about letting go of the sense of self. So less thinking and more being, more just being with the food. I feel the energy of the food. I feel like my sense of ego self is dissolving. So I'm more connected energetically with the food. I both feel more delight when I'm eating it. I taste the food better. And of course there's a great sense of gratitude for just this nourishment. But again, I'm not thinking what I'm grateful for. I'm just feeling gratitude. Everything I'm describing now will be head, right? I'm going to say, oh, I am grateful for this. I am grateful for the nourishment. But at the moment of being with the food, I think it's almost like a pause between regular life and between eating, so we can take that moment. And people, once in a while, do a silent eating. It's super helping just to be able to taste all of the flavors, really be with it.
Where else do you pause in your life?
All the time. I think if people struggle with being distracted by my new book, then I'd say one of the ways to pause is to even set forced pauses, setting a timer every 30 minutes, and every 30 minutes taking an inhale and an exhale and continuing. And that's it. I'm working. I just remember to do it all the time, so I don't put any timers. I stop for a second, I close my eyes, or I look off the screen to if I can find green or sky or any nature thing. And then I go inhale 1, 2, so I go. And then a very slow exhale. And it takes 3 seconds? And I'm in bliss, and they go back and I'm way more focused, way more knowing what I'm doing. And if I'm feeling like I'm scattered and I'm all over the place and things are not working, I'll do that. I'll close my eyes, just sit for a moment till I can kind of recalibrate. It's like doing a restart to the laptop when things don't work. Sometimes that's all you need to do is just hit the restart of the computer, right? So we hit restart to ourselves, which is often something people forget to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Really often people. Yeah, some people go on for weeks, days, months, years, right? Then every machine needs a break.
Mm-hmm. It's so interesting to feel like effort is justification for our work or who or what we are, rather than an expression of it.
When I lived in New York, I was kind of living these extremes of going to Zen monastery, doing yoga, and being a photographer, both artist and fashion. And I remember how guilty I felt if I wasn't busy.
Mm-hmm.
Because people, how you doing in New York, right? New York accent, you have to ask, how you doing? And then the answer must be, I'm busy, or I'm working on this. It's not, you go to California, especially in Southern California, it's like, good, how are you?
Mm-hmm.
No, what do you mean good? You're busy, you're working, you're struggling, and it's so interesting, the mentality shift from different areas. Of course, this is a phrase, a generalization. But yeah, it took me a while. Honestly, till this day, I feel guilty a bit when I'm not being busy. But I'm trying to focus on being busy in the right way, in a healthy way, with the right things, and taking enough breaks and ensuring that I can't be busy all the time. Because it becomes a race, and it's a race to nowhere.
Mm-hmm. I'll never forget in New York, I made a great friend from New Zealand. It's actually a coworker of mine too. When I asked how his weekend was, and it's funny because you ask people this all the time, and this is the one that stuck with me. He said it was spacious. I've never heard anyone in New York tell me their weekend was spacious. But it struck me. I was like, what does that mean? What spacious? How did he find space? And then he walked me through what he did over the weekend. I'll just never forget that.
What were some of the things that made him have space?
He took a walk through Central Park with a friend, sat down in the middle of like one of the trails and journaled with her. Then they went to a new cafe and grabbed coffee. He wandered around Queens and went to a new restaurant. He took a nap and he read his book outside in the park. It sounded so lovely.
It is. It's amazing. And it's fun because when you're saying that, I'm thinking it's so easy, so simple. It costs pretty much nothing. Everybody can do that. You can't afford the coffee. Bring with yourself a bottle of water or juice and drink it in the park.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, when people get so busy, their time off has to be traveling like a week throughout entire Europe or whatever else, because it has to also be an achievement. I I'm seeing people now, and it's been really interesting. I don't know if it's common for everybody, more for Americans, but I've seen a lot of people tell me, yeah, I've been to 40 countries, I've been to 35 countries. And I'm kind of, who cares? Like, why does it matter? What were the experiences you've had? Wait, maybe you went to one country and spent 4 months and really felt it versus going for 3 days to every country, right? It's like quality is less important these days and it's more about quantity. And I think that how do we find that place of spaciousness without needing to conquer the world? And if we are traveling, then can we do it slower? Can we really experience where we're going? If we're having a weekend, sure, we don't have to every weekend see a show, see something, right? We can just have time to read a book, to walk, to sit. And for some people, even spirituality became the same thing, right? They have to sit and meditate and this and this. And sometimes just sitting at the park and staring at the trees, people watching in a cafe, whatever. Like these waste of time things are so important to put into our schedules, like to literally schedule space. And I think that's very important when people make their agenda for the week, that they have that actually, if it doesn't happen naturally, then to add that in.
I completely agree. That's actually how we met. Because I was like, I have a week off of work. I feel guilty that I'm in Europe and I don't have the plan to go to Greece, Italy, and Paris. You go see so many countries. And I asked you, do you have any plans or recommendations for a bit more ground? I think I want to stay here, but I don't really know.
That's funny.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my younger brother also lives in the US, also got into the culture of work, finance. And we both learned that the secret to a successful week is to under-schedule by a ton. But by a ton. I usually have a schedule for the week that looks so ridiculous, it looks like a retired person. Literally. And somehow my days are always full. I can't remember the last time I was bored. Because if I'll have the extra time, I'll read, I'll write. I'm always writing something. You can journal, right? I'm writing books. Half the books I'm writing, I'm not even thinking about how to sell them. It's just the writing process is a studying process for me. It's a way to refine what I've already known and learned and go deeper and see what new research is. Or of course, do a few stretches, do some breath work, cook, go shopping for fruit and vegetables and make breakfast for tomorrow. Instead of saying I don't have time, I have to buy everything takeaway. I stopped doing takeaway, really bad for the environment. So there's just so much that could be done. Another meeting, calling my mom. Right? There's a million things that could be done, and that when we're overscheduled, we just stress out, and then we speak to our friend or our mother or our sister. It's like, hey, Harry, listen, everything's great, but I really have to go, blah, blah. And we lose the essence of the deep connection. And then we go and spend time seeing movies about the blue zones and hearing about how they have community, yet we don't have time for community. And it takes a lot of time to have friends.
Yeah. You know, it's so interesting. I moved to Lisbon. I didn't know anybody when I moved here. I was a single soul, except for the bed that had my name on it, for 1 week. I didn't even schedule long term. I was like, I don't know where I'm going to be. And every day, as I was trying to learn, how do you find community? How do you make a life somewhere where I don't know anyone? I'd write down a list. What's working, what's not working. And each day, I noticed things shifting from each side of the list. But every good, great day that I had, it started with a fitness class or community-based movement. Every day. If I go for a run solo, even went for a walk solo, the trajectory of the day didn't go up as much as the other ones did. And I realized, like, be intentional, just finding community in some capacity to start my day was huge for my well-being. I had never noticed that before.
I love that. I love that. That's interesting because I would think for me, it's always about movement and breath work, movement, and it doesn't really matter. I have to listen to what my body needs. Sometimes I've got way too much energy and I need to do more calisthenic style work. And sometimes I need to do softer yoga and breathing and just staying in poses for a long time because my energy is not ready for it. But it's true, I didn't really think about the community aspect of it, where for years I was getting up in the morning and teaching. So I had the kind of my own, a little bit self-practice on my own, but then the community was through the teaching. And now that I don't have it, I had a week on my own in Porto and I did my movement. And now I'm having a week here and I joined the studio. Thank goodness the Airbnb was not so great and I couldn't practice on my own at home. And it's true, I never really thought about it. The fact that I'm there, even when I'm not meeting anybody, still the community energy makes such a big difference. And this is shooting myself in the leg because I'm doing so much more YouTube now. So guys, do my YouTube, but also go to classes, also find community. It really is important, really. It's people that are like-minded, that they don't have to be like-minded. They have to be people we aspire to be more like them, right? So obviously the friendships that we look for and the people that we surround ourselves need to be people that help us go forward to where we want to go versus kind of hold us back. And so this is another big thing because I remember one time one of my teacher training students told me, yoga's ruining my life. I said, how so? She said, I'm losing all my friends. And she was 30s, late 30s, lots of good friends for many, many years. And she's like, but all my friends, all we do is we go out and we have drinks. Now I'm stopping. I don't have drinks anymore. I'm not going out so much. I want to wake up early to do my yoga practice. And it was shocking for her that at a certain age, she can keep these friends to a certain degree, but she's building all new community. And building a new community is not the end of the world. I know back in the day, my parents were with their same friends for 40 years. But then even then, I could see my mom, she decided to change from whatever mindset, mentality she grew up with. She moved to a different city and built a whole new community starting at the age of 81. So for those of us and those of you that are afraid of building new communities, it's easy. Everybody wants it. Just people are afraid to admit that they want it. And it's just about reaching out. You kind of reached out today. And I know I'm not great at that. I get like a bit timid. Maybe it's a man thing. I don't want to ever feel imposing, but I don't know. But it's true. There's something so powerful about it. And it's true. It's different than what it used to be, that every night the familia is sitting together in Sardinia having their big meals. But still, we can have a sense of community. And I think that's really, even, like you said, starting it with the community movement or in many other ways of whatever hobbies we have or whatever other things is beyond powerful.
Yeah. Health and relationships lay the foundation for everything.
Yeah, and when we're healthy, we can have better relationships, and when we have better relationships, we have better health.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yes.
absolutely.
With each other.
When I tell people that I spent last winter 5 months in Playa del Carmen and the Riviera of Mexico, oftentimes people know of it as a young party place. And there's a small section where it's got a pastor one time at night. We finished a late kirtan or something, and I was going by, and it was amazing. It was cute to see all the young ones really dressed up and going to party like crazy. I didn't even know it existed there. But what did exist for me was, in a very short amount of time, I built a community. And that's why I stayed. Well, the weather was great. It was very walkable. Those were things that were very important for me. And walking to the beach was also nice. But it was like right away, there was this Toastmaster group, and then there was this philosophy group. And There was a singing circle every 2 weeks. And there I started realizing a friend started an improv group, and it was all things like improv. What do I have to do with that? But it was just amazing to see, shout out to Big Sexy. And it was amazing to see how quickly a sense of community grew, especially when it's a place where a lot of people are not from it originally. Both the Mexicans many of them have moved from the city or other places, and a lot of expats. So immigrants admitted. And so, yeah, it made the community, and that's what's drawing me back there. The fact that there's such an easy way to meet people for coffee, for a walk, for sports, for exercise, for yoga. That's amazing. And I think Simon Sinek speaks about it a lot today, about how this is one of the most important things, and it takes effort to maintain friendships, to really call people, ask how they are sincerely, not just to be there. Oh yeah, I don't, when we need the person, but really caring, genuine care. And I think that's what relationships used to be, where people invested in them. And today, a lot of it is take. What do I get out of it? Even like relationships, personal relationships have become very much like this. It's like a business plan. Oh, they have money, they can do the housework. No, they've got the money, they can do whatever it is, right? And people are thinking, and it's important, right? Because if you're going to have a long-term relationship, how does it fit? But without the original real care, it won't last. And so that authentic care, I would say, is something that's needs to be revived a little more these days.
Yeah. You just brought up for me how I think so many of the people I've met, I've noticed how much I've been surprised by them. And I almost asked myself, like, why am I so surprised? I meet a waitress, and I think she's from the Netherlands. I'm like, oh, great, she came to Lisbon from the Netherlands. But then I ask her a few more questions, and I learn she's a phenomenal painter who just opened her own gallery and came to Lisbon because she felt so whole to share it with the Portuguese culture. And she's showing me her, like, how she comes about creating these pieces and what her technique is to find more creative inspiration and going for walks along the water. And I'm like, I totally assumed that none of that was part of who she is or how she experiences life. And I think that's the thing about relationships I'm learning too, is like, it's so easy to come to a conclusion that who you already think the person is, but there's so much more to them that you don't even know. So it's really the openness, I think, to be surprised that I'm finding more joy in.
The openness to be surprised is what in Zen they call beginner's mind. And beginner's mind is not that you're stupid always learning the ABC, but you recognize that every moment, if we treat it not from the place of our stories, and then we can be in awe of every new flower, of every new tree, of every new street. Walking Lisbon, I'm always fascinated by the little pebbles that make the street, the little stones, because I'm walking on the white and the black, and I'm looking a bit ahead of me and just a bit down to make sure I don't trip. And it's powerful. It's like being on a trip. You see these things and the colors and the shapes and so on. Then you lift up and then you see a beautiful building. Then you go down. And again, this ability to just be there and enjoy, then every silly thing that people take for granted becomes a surprise, becomes amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the most important things is what you said about a surprise is the fact that we start with a story. And that's not bad. I mean, we wouldn't survive without stories. That's how humans develop, through stories. However, the problem is when we believe that our stories are 100% true and we're not willing to change that. Half the people getting married build a story around their person. And yes, and she's a dancer and this and this and this and this. And 7 years go by, sometimes 7 months. But sometimes 7 years go by and they realize the story has changed. Either they had the wrong story or the person's different. They were all into finance and now they're into yoga and spirituality. And people are like, wait, what happened to you? We agreed on this and this. And like, yeah, but my life changed. And unless people can realize that stories do change, it happens with parents and their kids. Their kid is one way until the age of 12, and they're sure their kid is going to be so-and-so, and then the kid decides to change at 12, at 16, or 25. And if the parents are not able to come to that surprise to, wow, that's great, that's what you want to do now, that awe, that openness to change the story, then suffering happens. Because I'm feeling, well, you had a story about me, right? Your story is Doron's a yoga teacher. That means he's A, B, C, D. I, for sure, break that in so many ways where either somebody's like, oh, cool, Doron's a yoga teacher and, right? And is the key word. And he also, whatever, he's also flexitarian, or he's also this. Versus, I cannot believe it, Doron's a yoga teacher, but he actually does this, or he actually said this, or he acted this way. Guys, I'm human. I all the time, right? But it's the intention, not only the intention, the actions are really what matters, but the intention to take the action, and then to take the action to constantly improve, to constantly learn what was my story and how do I come back to the place of awe, of surprise, of beginner's mind, to be able to over and over start again from that good place that I reached, right? So it's like we progress, we go back a step, and then we go again, and then, right? And going back and falling is fine. It's like, okay, what happened? Learn from the mistake, move on, right?
Yeah.
So.
I love that. Actually, there's another practice I've found coming to Lisbon, and the word awe brought it up for me. Every day, I have a list of 2 sides. Mainly the side that I love the most recently it's called Joy is Everywhere. And the other side are small wins. So celebrating efforts more so than outcomes for myself. But the joy is everywhere. I'm just filling out as my day goes. And I try not to, it's not a rigid thing of like, I need to write down everything. But at the end of the day, I'll just think of what came to mind. And it could be the barista who shared the same name and she lit up when she heard that my name is Andrea. Or the dog literally sitting across the owner's lap on a bench. Or the first sip of a new coffee that had orange peel in it. And I've never had a coffee with orange. Like, the smallest things that I realize give me such joy. But do I take a moment to capture that for myself? And I just started filling out this list. And it's honestly giving me so much joy to realize that more joy brings more joy. Like when you're querying for it, it's like momentous.
Yeah.
And it's the best thing here.
So it's 2 things that are happening there. One is awareness, right? We have to have awareness. If we're aware of what's going on around, then we'll see miracles every second. Like every moment, there's a beautiful thing happening. And then 2, there's the choice of what do we do with what we see, right? Because everything we see, we can decide that we can find the positive in it, or we can find something not positive. And so, sure, when we're going in a nice cafe, a nice this, it can be great. But every person can go and see, wow, I can't believe she had the same name and she pronounced it Andrea instead of Andrea, or why does she have the same name? I want to be unique, right? You can, anything can be twisted to be negative or positive. I can't believe they're putting all this dog dirt on their lap. How could they do such a thing, right? Or what a charming, beautiful thing and so much love. And so I think it's both the ability to see, to have awareness of what's going on, and to choose joy. Because joy eventually becomes a habit. And that's what you said. The more joy we practice, the more joy we have. And eventually you won't need these lists. You'll just be walking around the street and people will look at you like you're a bit of a freak, because there will be times where you'll have the biggest smile on your face and you're walking alone and they're like, what's going on, right? And you don't even have headphones. You're not listening to a funny podcast. So this happens, right? It's a habit. And it's any habit that we build, including habits of being aware and habits of practicing the joys, like experiencing joy from everything that we're aware of. And then that grows over and over again, and it will fill us. And for those that think that it's going to be 100% like that, forget it. Shit still happens. But even when shit happens, we'll probably ideally take it in a better way. My mom just broke her leg, and I called her. If I didn't know she broke her leg, I think she's having the best day of her life. She was just so happy and cheerful, and this is a woman that all her life, not all, but half of her life, 4 hours of her day are about movement. Yoga, swimming, walking, Pilates, bone density, all these things. So for her now to be in a cast, full cast, for God knows how long, at least a month, 2-3 months, it's one of the biggest curses she could ever ask for. And then she's like, oh my God, this could have been so much worse. Oh, and I'm so grateful my eldest son came and he's here with me, and this is so nice. Oh, and they're already thinking of how to support me and my group, my friends, And I'll get to do more Sudoku now, and I'll get to read more books. And I'm so grateful we have a library that I can take more books because I'll have more time to read now.
Wow.
She could have easily, right, chosen not joy. She could have gone to self-pity. And this happens often to people. She's 87 now. At that age, it's so easy to feel miserable and, oh, now this happened, now I'm going to die. Now, right? It's a common thing. They say people at that age, when they fall because they can't move, this is really, unless they were super in shape before, then this can make them move even less and be really detrimental to their not only health, but even life. And she just turned it all around. Nobody told her anything. On her own will, she just decided, right? This is, I'm looking at it in bright eyes. And so for me, thanks, Mom. But that's the inspiration, right? How do we always, even when shit hits the fan, because it will, what do we do with this? Lemons, lemonade. I really didn't like that one ever, because what's wrong with lemons? You don't have to add sugar to it. Lemons are amazing as they are. Just squeeze it into your cup and drink it. It's perfect. You don't need to make lemonade. Just drink lemon with water. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway, the idea is just really that lemons can be sour just as they are without adding, or they could be, healthy, alkalizing, alkalining with this lovely little tangy flavor, etc. And it's all about how we show up and how we decide to view things every moment, right? It's like, how do we see the world?
Yeah. There's an encounter that stuck with me since I moved to Lisbon. When I met, he's probably early 70s, late 60s. And he retired here at Lisbon. This man that I complete stranger. And he must have felt comfortable enough to share his feelings at the moment, because we were just sitting, and he shared with me that he woke up this morning at 11 a.m. And he was like, I felt so guilty. I woke up, I'm like, man, you slept until 11, the day's almost over. What are you doing? I can't believe I slept until 11. And then he was like, in the same moment, I thought to myself, how lucky am I that I don't have to get up to work, that I could sleep in until 11. It was like a Tuesday, and I'm working New York hours, so I could have a slow morning. And he's telling me how lucky he felt, and then he was like, and then I thought, what's the difference between the two? I felt guilty, and then I felt lucky. And then he was like, I realized it was a choice. I could choose which one I want to pursue. And he's like, I think it must be the same for everything else. And it really struck me.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And the sooner people realize this, the better their life's going to be all the time. Because so often people have to wait till a dramatic event in their life before they can realize that everything is a choice, and that the choices we make right now, every little one, who we talk to, how we treat a stranger. I'm guilty. I sometimes smile at people randomly at the street, and I admit, when somebody smiles back, I'll never see them again. We just passed. I go on this little dance, like I feel like I just won the lottery. I know nothing about this person, and it could be men, women, old, young, but there's just something really amazing that there was this like hint of connection. I see it in yoga class when I'm by there and people show up to the class and everybody's like, I'm waiting for class, and between like, hey, good morning, just a little something like that can change the whole energy of just community, right? Making the connection. So it's so much about making choices and realizing that we have the choice. No matter our circumstances, so often people feel, when I'll make enough money in Manhattan, I'll buy my retreat center upstate New York, and then I'll be able to start meditating. No, it's Sinatra said it, right? You can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. You don't have to wait. It's you don't need anything special in order to find joy, in order to find gratitude, in order to be happy. It's really about, what is the outlook? How do we see things? How are we experiencing things? And if we can experience them from less of a place of me, myself, ego, if the conditioning wasn't healthy conditioning, can I drop away the conditioning and be open enough to adopt a new way of seeing things, right? And that's challenging for a lot of people, because they grew up with something and they cannot let it go, and it will haunt them for the rest of their lives. Instead, let it go of the conditioning. Let's say, I know if my conditioning was being angry, I should be like Alcoholic Anonymous. I'm an angry person, and I haven't been angry in, God knows, a year. No, I've been angry once during this year. Shameful. Really, I feel shame saying it, which I know is not useful. But the idea is that, okay, I know I have this tendency, but what do I do with it? Do I notice it, and now every time I feel the sensation come, I breathe into it, I help it change, I convert it into something else? Or do I let it burst every time? Okay, so it doesn't matter what the conditionings are. Sometimes we cannot let it go right too quickly. Maybe they're religious conditioning, they're emotional. I am passive aggressive, I am jealous, I am this, I'm that. But how do we take these moments and say, okay, this is my conditioning. I'm noticing this is coming up. I'm noticing this is not helpful. And this is the key thing, right? Is it helpful or not? And then what do I do about it? And sure, sometimes there'll be flare-ups, and if we're real good friends, we can also say, hey, listen, my tendency is to, I don't know, I'm starting to date you and I'll be jealous of you. Can you please be patient with me when that happens? And if it happens, just come and give me a hug and let me feel safe and secure, instead of lashing at me, why am I a jealous person? That's where community comes in also, because then we can learn to have support from people. We can feel comfortable admitting our nemesises, our moments of not ideal, our moments of conditioning that are still part of us, and we can overcome them, and then we can celebrate the joy. But it's really important that we understand that the joy is not 100%, that there's always things that will come up, and not pretend like this is so common today in the spiritual world. Everything is perfect the way it is, right? Or everything is precise, or whatever they say. And the idea is that if you fallen and broken a leg, you can make the best out of it. I don't see that it's perfect, right? Oh, and then you say, oh, and now I made a new friend because as I broke my leg, Jennifer came and was supporting me and helping me. So how great was that? But ideally, you meet a different Jennifer even without breaking a leg. So I don't think that bad things should happen to us. I've seen yoga teachers tell that to their students that just got injured. Oh, it's your karma, or oh, it's good for you, you'll learn patience. And I'm like, no, it's never a good thing to get injured. We make the best out of it, but I don't think it's to begin with a good thing. Ideally, we can learn the lessons without going through the suffering. Realistically, we're gonna go through suffering. So at least let's make the best out of these moments of bad conditioning or whatever they are. But I'm not wishing on anybody to have bad experiences just so they can learn from them. So yeah, I know I kind of went on and on a bit about it, but it's really trying to tie together the how do we find joy all the time and gratitude, and yet accept that stuff happens. We wake up at 11, we break a leg, we break up, we get fired, we this, and then seeing the potential in it, not because it was a good thing, but because, okay, this just already happened and that's all it did. It happened. Now how do I make the best out of this situation? I got fired. How do I really take into deep consideration what's my next move in my next career, if it is, or maybe I'm retiring, or I broke a leg. Okay, not ideal. How do I learn to become a master of movement with a broken leg? And then I start a whole YouTube channel on yoga with broken leg, just whatever it is, but it's not that it's a bad thing. It's not that it's a bad or a good thing that happened. It just happened. And then what do we do with it? So if we stop choosing it as a good or bad thing, but just realize that whatever happens, happens, then we can take that moment. And from that moment, we can see what is the most helpful, what would be the best choice we can do right now.
Yeah. I love that, because it's really a problem is not a problem. It's the meaning you make to it. No thing we ever experience, like even a broken leg, is not really a problem. It's the meaning we make to the fact that our bone is broken and what it hinders us from doing, how our life will change as a result, and the meaning we make to that.
Yeah.
I find I love all the joy and gratitude, and I think that joy begets joy. So it becomes a momentous, almost positive spiral. But naturally, as humans, we go into this negative spiral too. And you're like, oh my gosh, nothing in my life can go right now. You're taking L's left and right. An Uber's late, miss a meeting, your friend's mad at you, you forgot a payment, so many things that you just, little nooks, or little almost just chiseling away at your joy, you feel like. And for me, I've had many instances of that, even here. And I've thought to myself, okay, if I can't make the most of the situation right now, how can I shift back into where I know I am in joy and gratitude and peace? Like, how do I actually identify what shifts me into it? And then use that almost as a roadmap in the future, too, of perhaps it's connection, or even just a walk, or even just a prayer or a meditation. I'm curious what that is for you, or what you found helps you shift.
A breath. A breath stops everything. And then once I take a deep breath, if I take a deep breath and really put all my attention on the breath, then I'm in the present. And then there is no shifting. There's no more joy or not joy. There's no more bad. There's no nothing. There's just the breath, which usually brings joy after, because there's an inherent gratitude that comes subconsciously when we breathe, because that means being alive. And unless I really want to die right now, then even people, I think, with suicidal thoughts, once they take a deep breath and they realize they're alive, that can bring gratitude. Because we want to die because things are really shit, because we lose meaning, because we lose purpose. But most of us don't really, really, really want to die, even though a lot of people say it. I've said it many times. I'm like, oh, I'm ready to die. My best friend all the time said, well, whose life is this anyway? Like, I just want to die, until he got cancer. All he wants to do is live now. He's in so much gratitude, so much joy. And he says, it's a cliche. Why do we need to get slapped in the face so strong to wake up? So it's not that there's anything good about his cancer. Zero. Sure, it helped him find joy and purpose in life. But this is what I said earlier. I wish that we didn't need to get these in the face in order to switch there. I wish we could find it just by listening to this podcast. But anyway, to this conversation, and somebody would say, wow, yeah, I can choose right now. I don't need to wait for something bad to happen. And a breath for me is a reset, right? Any pause from the ongoing busyness of life is a reset. And so a breath, closing my eyes or opening my eyes and looking at anything beautiful, and beautiful can be a crack in the wall. It doesn't have to be the perfect sunset. You live in a cell number 94-7 in whatever prison. Find a crack in the wall that looks interesting and look at that in awe. Take a deep breath. And that resets all the thoughts of why did I do, how did I do, I should have, I shouldn't have, I could have. Right? And I know I do this less now, but I used to love I should have. That was my favorite thing, because as a perfectionist, I would always be close to perfect and beating myself up for anything that wasn't. I've learned to let that go much quicker, but it still comes up. I just notice it, take a deep breath, and forget about it, right? So for me, making the pause, and if the breath doesn't work, then doing 10 push-ups, going for a quick walk around. A walk is my second best thing, because sometimes it's like the day is so disoriented. Full moon, eclipses, this, that, whatever you want to call it, Mercury, blame it on the boogie. Doesn't matter. Just go for a walk, present, then you have the walk and the breathing and the eyes soft, focusing on where we're walking. And again, it's such a reset. So for me, those are the easiest ways. The easiest ways would be to go get ice cream, porn, get angry. I don't know. There's probably easier bad habits. Oh, drink, smoke. Sure, there's millions of bad habits that we can do. So if we can generate these good habits, then those would be the instinctive things we'll go to when we need a reset instead of going to the bad ones. Because it's just a reset from a moment of distraction.
Yeah. You just brought up for me the perfectionist thing, which I know we talked about on our walk over here. And I feel like for me, that sounds like everything you just described is not so much the game of doing, right? Catch it, you notice it, the awareness of it, of you're in a spiral, you're in whatever space you're in, and you do something to shift, to direct your attention, whether a breath, a walk. I'm curious what your thoughts are on perfectionism and how to shift out of it, because what I've found helpful for me is to purposely do something messy. To actually show myself, my nervous system, that I'm safe, sending a text with a typo, or saying a voice memo, messing up and still sending it, or saying hi to somebody who may not even be looking at me and they don't see me. So I just said hi to someone in public and it could have been completely humiliation, but I just did it. And I find that completely uproots some of that conditioning, which every day it comes back. But curious what you find.
Interesting. I wonder if it would work for me, because if I mess up on purpose, the only way it would work is if I'll be okay with it. Because if I messed up on purpose and then later I'll still say, oh, that was silly, why did I do that? It was just now a typo. Then I missed the point, right? So for me, I think he said it before, it's about doing. And perfectionism, like everything, there's good sides and bad sides, right? It's what we do with it. The bad side is if it stops us from doing. So I'm a perfectionist now. I won't start writing a book because I'll never be able to write the perfect book. I'll take a yoga class. I realize I'm not flexible enough, so I won't do yoga. Yoga's not about that. Everybody says it, but nobody really believes it. Everybody believes that it's about flexibility, which if that were the case, then every Cirque du Soleil dancer would be the perfect yogi, and definitely every dancer would be the perfect yogi. But we've already seen that that's not exactly it. But it's the story that we make. So it's about taking action and doing the things that we are, not necessarily we can easily mess up, but that we may mess up, because if I'm going to learn tennis tomorrow and I've never played tennis, I will 100% mess up. So for me, being okay with messing up, even though it's not on purpose, even though I'm trying to do my best and I'm messing up, and having enough compassion and saying, this is great, you're just doing your best, this is fine, you don't need to be perfect, right? You're doing your best and that's it. So I cannot just do on purpose messy things. Not sometimes I do. I try to leave the bed unmade. But again, it just felt to me why. The only reason I found later, I aired it out more hours. But so it only half works for me. But yes, it is about sometimes looking at the sink or something and knowing that I have to run out and it's not perfectly everything organized. This is already perfectionism / OCD. I know I'm not really either one of them to that level, but I have certain levels of them. And I'm saying, okay, it's more important right now to go, leave it as is, and I go. And it will bother me for a second, but then I'll forget about it. And that is a bit of a practice where I'm purposely leaving something like a few dishes in the sink, which is not common, And I'll leave that because there's something more important for me to do now. But it's not because I did it on purpose, so to speak, because just to practice it, but I did it because there's a reason. Because I left the dishes because right now it's more important that I call my mom before she goes to sleep, and I'll do the dishes later. So that's how I break a bit the need to have everything perfect right now and trying new things. I keep learning new languages. So I keep being really shitty at a lot of languages. And it's embarrassing because every time I start speaking them, I make a million mistakes. But not because I'm trying to make mistakes, but because they happen. Because I'm putting myself, here's the thing, I'm putting myself in a beginner's state over and over again. And in a beginner state, we have to mess up. And it really helps the perfectionist to do its best, but let go of trying to be perfect because it cannot. No beginner, maybe Beethoven received everything from the universe and just wrote the symphony, the Ninth Symphony, I don't know. But most of us will mess up when we start something new. And so starting a lot of new things, a lot of challenging things that we know we're bound to mess up is super healthy to break up that necessity and being okay with it. And I'll top it off with a sprinkle of laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
Because perfectionists tend to take themselves too seriously. And so go learn to surf and let somebody film it and be super embarrassed that everybody's watching how you got on the board and did something so stupid and fell and whatever. Yeah. And that to me is healthy because that breaks away that self-importance, that ego self that wants everything to be perfect.
Oh, I love the way you just described that. It's like sitting, expanding your capacity for discomfort.
Perfect.
Is really the...
I'm going to repeat that. That's amazing. Expanding our capacity for discomfort, your mind. Yeah.
Because what you just described is like the typo, like you said, it may not really be impactful because you're not really that... the discomfort doesn't fully exist for you. But maybe letting the dishes go while you call your mom, you're expanding your discomfort there. And then you realize you're safe in that discomfort. And then some of those shackles release.
Absolutely.
And some emotion comes in.
That's true. So yeah, I was saying beginners, but really it's putting ourselves in place of discomfort. Being able, I started Toastmasters this year. And I speak a lot because I'm a teacher. And still, I went there and it was very different. I didn't come to speak about anything I knew. I'm standing in front of a group of people I don't know, and they give me a subject and I have 2 minutes to talk about it. My perfectionist didn't want to raise my hand because there's no way it's going to be perfect. And I raised my hand, or they called me because I was new and they just gave me the opportunity to come up. Good thing nobody was checking my heartbeat. It was speeding like a mania. Why was I so nervous, right? There's no competition, there's no exam, there's no nothing. The people before me were ridiculously, some were amazing, but some really stood there for 1 minute figuring out what they're going to say. And yet I didn't care about anybody else. I was in competition with myself. I needed to be perfect. So I got up there and I had to right away kind of take a big breath because that's my pause, my reset. I just say, whatever happens, happens, right?
Yeah.
So, and then I started speaking and I told the story, whatever, and it worked out close to perfect. Definitely not perfect, but it was really surprising. But I had to put myself into the discomfort of standing up there in front of people. And I think that's what makes this Toastmasters so amazing. It's an international big thing because it forces people to be uncomfortable, including great leaders, great CEOs, suddenly need to realize, oh, they're counting how many times you said, so, and filler words. And somebody comes up and realizes, wow, I've been saying a million times. Or common in the US, people say, like, you know. It's a forced discomfort that also improves awareness. So any practices that we can do that will put us in the place of discomfort and add awareness are super powerful.
That is so good. That's gonna stick with me.
And here's an easy way. You're thirsty. If you're one of those that has the big water bottle and you drink out of it all the time, stop. I'm thirsty. I'm about to reach the water bottle. I stopped. I decide I'm waiting a minute. I keep doing whatever I'm doing and then I drink the water. It's a mental disrupt. It forces us not to go into the unaware state of things, even when they're good for us, right? The unaware habits that we just constantly do. So even when I'm eating my salad, I stop to make sure that I'm eating it in a present way. And anything that we can do to disrupt the regular flow of the mind is amazing, because we disrupt it. So that way, as we do go back to the flow, even if it's for 3 seconds, right? Oh, I'm thirsty. Stop. Look at the water bottle. Take a breath. And now do it with awareness. Watch how the hands go to the glass. Lift it up. Taste the water. Be with it for a second. Put it back. It took 7 seconds, 12 seconds. But it changes everything. And it disrupts us. It's oftentimes uncomfortable. I'm really thirsty now. I have to drink. You're not going to die. And it trains us to be able to be way more flexible with everything, with our less perfectionism, with not having everything the way we want it. This is a big thing. We live in a world where I can order online everything. I can get almost every fit because there's so many designers. I can find the right workout for me because there's a million types of yoga, Pilates, and any kind of movement. Like, I can choose today so much that people are in overwhelm of choices. And when we can stop, have these disruptions, and learn to be a bit in discomfort, then we can become way more flexible, not just in our bodies, hippie, right? But in our minds, which is really where it matters. So that way, when we do break a leg, when things are not perfect, when we have a breakup, it's going to be painful, but we'll be flexible enough to deal with it in the right way and make the best out of it. It's not like, oh, you're a yogi, so I can come and, like Buddha, there's this word, chop his arm off and he'll still be, hi, chop the arm off. Right? We are the knights who say meat. I think that was from Monty Python. Right? And it's like, no, with suffering happens, or no, I'll say pain happens, but the suffering is optional.
What do you think is the source of most of our suffering?
Wishing things would be different than they are. It's everything, right? It's like perfectionism. I want everything to be perfect and it's not, so I'm suffering. Jealousy. I wish my boyfriend, girlfriend didn't look at somebody else that way, so I wish they were different. I wish they would act different. I wish my boyfriend was more, this is that, right? The trend now. Everybody wants everybody to be emotional intelligent. Of course. It's become so used that I sometimes wonder, do people even understand what it is? And do we actually want a robot that would be perfect? No. Even in a relatively emotional, intelligent person would make mistakes. And then if I want things to be the certain way, you're going to be emotionally intelligent. You're going to be a man, because you must be very in your masculine divinity. But you're also going to be very sensitive and take care of me and this, but also give me the freedom to take care of and. Right? Today, I'm seeing this on dating apps. What people are looking for are a list of things that just don't exist. I'm guilty of that. I sometimes want that in a woman. And I'm like, what am I really wanting? Like, is it even realistic? And then we suffer because we don't get what we want. Or we become okay being alone because we're not going to get that perfection of what we wished. Which one's better? I don't know. But ideally, we would be able to understand that life isn't perfect, even for non-perfectionists, right? Things happen. I study for this exam and I didn't make it just as much as I wanted. I really wanted to do the headstand today and I flipped over. I came to the restaurant, my favorite restaurant, and it was closed. They didn't have my favorite dish. Everything is about what we wish. It was different because it's either stuff we wanted and we didn't get, or we did not want and we did get. I I didn't want a toothache. I didn't want a stomach ache. I didn't want to fall. Suffering because I'm getting what I didn't want. It's not the way I want it to be. Or the opposite. I want and I don't have. I want a partner. I want a kid. I want a job. I want a success. I want 10,000 more followers. I want, whatever.
Yes.
So it's always the dissonance between not accepting reality for what it is. And this doesn't mean, oh, I'm accepting reality, so I'm just going to sit here, smoke joints all day and do nothing. No, do everything, do your best, and yet accept that even while we do our best, it's not going to be the way we planned, and that's okay. And then life becomes a bit better because we can accept that things don't happen the way we want them to.
Yeah.
Good luck with that one. It's a hard one.
It's so interesting. This is a new felt experience for me, is the experimentation with life. Of, I see things, I had a plan today, and I was going to pursue that plan, and then I ran into a great friend that I met in a yoga class, and now my morning is completely different than I thought it would be. And formally, I find even more beautiful moments of connection might stem or might create suffering. Because exactly, the reality is different than the way I perceived it to be. But I'm finding that if I can allow what I experience to be perhaps an invitation to more aliveness, a connection that led to a wonderful conversation and breakfast, actually be an invitation to more. The creativity in life is far greater than my own creativity of the day.
Yeah.
And then also pairing that with permission, to give myself the permission to pursue what might disrupt my day. That's actually an invitation. And I didn't used to have that. And that caused me so much suffering, where I might have that connection that invited me somewhere else, but I didn't give myself the ability to go there. I'd be like, no, I have to go here. I made this plan. All right. Sorry. Nice meeting you. Bye. And it caused suffering.
Absolutely.
And it's so interesting that the pair to me is both the openness, so the invitation, and the permission. So twofold.
Flexitarianism.
Yeah.
That's my religion. It's, right? Being open to whatever experience happens, choosing wisely. In yoga, we say klishta. Is it beneficial or not? Will it be painful or not in a sustainable way, right? And then if it is something that's beneficial, then how do we go with the flow, but not go with the flow in a stupid way, right? In a permission way where I know this is going to be interesting, where this is good, because then this is where we live life. And when we try to control life all the time, it's easy because then we make less mistakes, but we also end up on our deathbed regretting all the things we should have tried, we could have experienced. And sure, this is risky because when we do this, we open up. We're having breakfasts unexpectedly, which disrupted all of our morning plans and everything else. And who even knows if this is going to be interesting or boring or whatever. But for the chance that this will be something so amazing that we completely couldn't even imagine, it's worth it. Because when the worst comes to worst, the experience is not so great, we get up and leave. But the fear of failure, the fear of experiencing, the fear of making the wrong choice, the fear of, right, not having that permission to live life fully causes so many people to just have midlife crisis. That's what midlife crisis is. Everything we wished we did before, and we held ourselves because we tried to go by society's norms. I'm saying respect society. Never hurt anybody. Be as good person as you can. Follow healthy moral rules, and yet break away from them in a flexible way that doesn't hurt anybody but gives you the opportunity to experience life to its fullest. It's the only way where we can really be in that true joy, because otherwise we're constantly, we're trying to put gas and we're putting brake at the same time, right? Because the brakes, is this right? Is this appropriate? What would somebody say? What would others think? I'm not this kind of person. I don't do these kind of things. I was passing the night. I arrived to Lisbon, the Parco Estrella right here nearby, and they were having on the way back home music and stuff, and I'm like, wow, this is so much fun. Admittedly, most people were younger than me. What to do? Most people my age are sitting with families and having a good life for their families. I'm still living like I'm 28 years old. And so I walk there and I'm feeling embarrassed because I'm dying to move. He was a really great DJ. He's playing music and everybody's busy taking selfies, drinking their drinks, more selfies. Two girls on the side are already doing a little bit of moves. I said, what the hell? So I kind of took a little corridor where I'm not disrupting anybody, and I started doing my moves and I started dancing. I lowered my eyes so I don't care if people are looking at me or not. And it was just so freeing. It was great. I spent, I don't know how long, maybe an hour. I just danced. I had the best time of my life and I walked away. And it was really, after all these years, after doing everything in the non-traditional way, every possible thought of why I shouldn't be doing this came to me. You're not local. Everybody's looking to you. You're old. You're weird. You're this. Why are you just dancing? Blah, blah, blah. And then, and the exhale is like blowing all the clouds away so the empty sky appears. And once the empty sky appears, there's nothing. There's no judgment. There's no nothing. There's just doing. Do the right thing, right? And that's it. And so it's hard, but yeah, opening up to the invitation, oftentimes these invitations show up, like walking through the park on the way home. There's the invitation, there's music, and giving the permission, as you beautifully said, to just go and celebrate, right? Here it is. It's free. It's like perfect late summer night with just nice music. I didn't even need the alcohol or anything. I just went and just, so I love that. And I hope that more and more people can do that, because we will just see random acts of people dancing to street musicians and people clapping or laughing out loud because they're just walking on the boardwalk and seeing seagulls doing their thing and they don't care what anybody else thinks, and that's power. We'll just have such a better world that way.
That just brought up for me, have you ever seen the video of the guy who, it's like a hill, it's probably a similar scene, there's like a distant music festival going on, and he gets up from a distance and he just starts dancing like crazy, and he's the only one, and some people are like laughing at him, and then suddenly another person gets up, and 10 minutes go by and there's an entire crowd dancing with him.
Yeah.
And also to you. And it struck me because the first thoughts almost always are judgment, right? Like you articulated, like, oh, what do they think of me? Oh my gosh, do I look weird? Do I have like awkward news? But perhaps it's actually what they're thinking is, oh my gosh, this is an invitation for me to do that too.
Right.
And it's so funny how the very thing that you judge yourself for sometimes is the thing that people admire you most for.
So often.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's so beautiful.
It's being a leader, but without being a leader. I'd say more than being a leader, being authentic. When we're really authentic and the call to dance or to sing or to do anything comes up and we do it, again, not in a disruptive way, always respecting everybody else. It can be as simple as being okay with asking the question at the end of the workshop. I see it in my teacher training. There's those that are able to ask the questions, those that will never. Those that will ask the question only after somebody else was the first person. Why are we so afraid to be the first one to raise a hand and to ask and then say, oh, this is a stupid question or this may be a stupid question? Just ask the question. Maybe it's stupid. People say there are no stupid questions. Who cares if it is or it isn't? It's your question. It's your authentic self curious. Johnny thinks it's stupid. Brian thinks it's brilliant. It doesn't matter. It's my question and I'm going to ask this question. And so I think this thing is what brings us to become more authentic, more real, and will bring more leaders instead of followers that oftentimes are following the wrong kind of leaders. And we need more of authentic, good leaders. Good in the sense not that they're good leaders, but they do good in the world. And then those people will bring more people to follow their authentic dance, and they will dance alongside with their authentic dance. They don't need to dance like my dance. They need to just move in their own way and sing in their own way and ask their own question. But generating that, being okay with the discomfort, right? To be authentic. And to be authentic oftentimes is a discomfort when we're not alone. For some people, even alone in the house, that's weird to put music and dance. And so what I say is, start at home, put music and dance. Or for me, the worst thing in the world pretty much is to sing. So I'll sing alone. And then I'll sing in kirtan with another group of people, etc., until I'm leading chants in classes. And I still don't know how to sing well. This year I will take singing classes, I promise, next year. But it's like, it's about overcoming that whatever. And then when we do it in such an authentic way, even when it's not perfect, it still comes out amazing. So
I love that. So many topics you've covered.
I know, but I think at the other way we can kind of say living authentically, doing what we know is right for us without hurting anybody else, what is right for us sustainably.
Joy begets joy.
Joy begets joy. Invitation and permission, right? Seeing the invitations as they show up, right? Don't just wait for doors to open. If you open your eyes, doors are opening all the time. And give ourselves permission to walk through these doors and to experience life.
Mm-hmm.
Being aware of our conditionings so they don't stop us, so that we can actually notice if they're good or bad, helpful or not helpful conditionings, and take action even though we spoke a lot about perfectionism. So even if my conditioning is perfectionism, how do I overcome that? And we said we'll overcome that by being in our discomfort. Expanding the discomfort. Expanding the capacity for the discomfort. Thank you for that one. That's beautiful. Yeah.
It comes from a wise person in my life.
Being able to listen and learn from everybody, no matter how much we know.
Yeah.
Always that. People always say, oh, I'm a student of life, I'm this. That's great. But are we really? Like, are we just saying it, or are we actually listening, learning from every interaction, from every conversation, from everything we see? Oh, and then we spoke about having awareness, right? Being able to have the awareness to see every little miracle in life, which then brings gratitude, which then brings joy, which then brings more joy.
Mm-hmm. And it's a positive sign. We don't know what to do anymore with all this emptiness. I'm loving it. That's great.
Thank you so much. So guys, this was completely random. We just started talking, new people that never really met before, and we said, wow, I said this could be amazing to be on for you guys to watch. And my discomfort was, I don't do stuff like this. Why would I have a camera? I'm not doing stuff for it. But I overcome my discomfort. I put the camera up myself. Hopefully it's recording. And we had zero plans. We just spoke and had a great conversation. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Whatever you guys want to, are you Andrea? Or are you, how do you pronounce your name?
Andrea.
Great. So, and if you like this, give us a shout out, give us thank yous, give us likes, and mainly say thank you to the lovely Andrea that inspired all of this. And thank you for watching and being with us here. Love you.